guys, welcome back to my channel. Jordan versus LeBron. Now, we've heard it all. Jordan played against Plumbers. Jordan played in the expansion era, which we're going to get into that. Woo! Jordan's expansion era made LeBron's era. Oof. Well, we'll get into that. I won't even talk about it. That's for another video. So the 80's was a Plumbers era, and the 90's was an expansion era, and both of these eras was weak. So let's look at some of these guys that played in this era, and I just find it funny. If you go look at Jordan's 87 season, in 89 season, Jordan put up some of the most fantastic numbers you ever seen and didn't even win the MVP. And I know a lot of people will be like, Magic had the best record in the league and he meant more to his team. Like, what? But he had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Worthy. So how was he more valuable to his team? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm just saying the numbers that Jordan put up in the 80's and didn't even win the MVP is insane, especially from 87 on. He only won one MVP in the 80's. So let's go ahead and look at this. So Jordan played against nobody in the 80's. You had Kareem, you had Bird, Barkley, Stockton, Ewing, Malone, Hakeem, Wilkins, Bernard King, Isaiah Thomas, George Mann was in there. I really won't go too deep into him because I know he was pretty much done. You had Julius Erving, kind of on his way out, but he had a couple years left. You got Alex English. You got McHale. You got Worthy. Of course, Pippen was his teammate. Reggie Miller. Let's see. David Robinson played in that era. I mean, these are just some of the top guys, either top 75 or Hall of Fame players. There were other great players that will never make the Hall of Fame because they end up getting injured, cut their career short. You got Chris Mullin, Sidney Moncrief, David Robinson, Moses Malone, Tim Hardaway. This is just to name a few. And you guys say that Magic was done. He was sick. He was finished because he was in the 91 finals playing Jordan. I mean, could you imagine him beating Tim Hardaway, Rich, I can't even say Rich, what is it? Mitch Richmond. I can't even say the name. Chris Mullin. Could you imagine him beating all these three guys? These great shooters? Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway, and you got Chris Mullin all on one team, which they had to break up that team because it was, I guess it was too many shooters. But he took, Magic Johnson took that team down. So, and he was beating up on Karl Malone, John Stockton, and you got Hakeem. He was in the West. So it's just mind-blowing how Magic, he was done. He was sick and everything, and he was, he was in the finals again. It's just these people is just out of their minds when they don't know nothing about basketball. You got Dennis Johnson over here. You got Joe Dumars, and you guys gonna say, "Oh, he didn't win nothing though. He didn't win nothing in the 80's. What was he supposed to win? What was he supposed to win? I don't understand. What did LeBron win in the 2000's? Nothing. Just because you go to the finals, that don't mean you won. Winning, you guys talk about championships, but LeBron never won nothing in the 2000's. And he beat a old bench player, who was it? Chris Webber, just to go to the finals when he beat Detroit, a team that didn't have a player that cracked 20 points per game. And if you go back and look at my video, he melted down in those playoffs. He was a minus 149 in the playoffs in 2007. So we go to the 90's, And you still got players like Alex English. He was in there. Isaiah Thomas, yeah, he was old, but he made three All Star teams right in the '90s. Joe Dumars, he was old, but he made all kind of accolades in the '90s. We don't know why Dennis Rodman didn't get old, did he? Let's see. You got Clyde Drexler. He came back in there. Mitch Richmond, keep messing up his name. Ewing, Shaq. You had, let's see, Allen Iverson, Chris Webber, Sean Kemp, who should be a Hall of Famer, is crazy. Tim Duncan, uh, Dikembe Mutombo. I forget this guy's name. But you got Charles Barkley. You got many of the guys. I think Dikembe Mutombo was on here twice. Uh, Kevin Garnett, Tim Hardaway, Ray Allen. Got Jason Kidd's in there. Dominique Wilkins, Larry Johnson. I mean, this is just a few, man. We ain't even talking about the guys who didn't make the Hall of Fame. I mean, you guys talk about the Plumbers League. Look, I would take these two eras over LeBron's era that he played in any day of the week. And I'm talking about the 2000s and the 2010s. I'll take this era anytime. I'll take this era anytime. These guys were, they didn't flop around. The majority of them didn't join super teams until they got old. They were high flyers. They played defense. You got Steve Nash in here too. He played in the '90s. He played in the Plumbers League. Moses Malone played in the '90s again. Magic Johnson played. I guess he was sick. We can't count him. I mean, these guys right here, boy. you if you missed the '80s, especially the '90s, I don't know what to say. You really didn't see basketball. This ain't basketball. What you're looking at. Even a lot of these guys went into the 2000s and stopped LeBron from winning. So I guess they learned from the plumbers of the '90s how to win before LeBron won. And let me see here. You have, who am I missing that? Oh, I can't remember this guy's name. He played for he was the stopper, the center for Detroit. Won all the defensive players of the years. Uh, that he wasn't there when LeBron went to the '07 finals. Oh man, I can't remember his name. But yeah, he played in the '90s. I mean, like, you guys are incredible calling these guys plumbers. And like I said, we haven't even looked at the guys who didn't make the Hall of Fame. And it's just nuts how they would even. This came from Nick Wrong. And it's just making, the LeBron fans look stupid when you see these images that nobody in their right mind will put these guys, put LeBron's era guys in front of these guys. These guys was winners. They didn't super team it. Yeah, they had super teams, most of them based on like one free agent or it came through draft picks, something like that. But you wasn't seeing Magic or Isaiah trying to group up with Magic and all this shit. So subscribe, comment. This is just laughable right here. I mean, God, you just, if you miss this era of basketball, you miss like dudes who really got gritty, got on the floor, really had something to play for because they wasn't making all this money that these dudes do today. They didn't cry. Oh yeah, there's Gary Payton right there. Um, man, you just want run around shooting the ball in somebody's face. You had to earn your shot back in the day.